I'm not going to pretend like we haven't installed a few MBRP exhaust systems on different side-by-sides and ATVs over the years. We have. A bunch of them. But there's a very good reason why. When the crew at MBRP sits down to design an exhaust for a side-by-side or ATV, they don't just bend some tubing, weld on a can, and call it a day like some of their competitors do. A lot more goes into this process.
Well, there's certainly a lot of market research that kind of goes on in behind the scenes first. We look at kind of the competitor market, what's out there right now, and then look at the unit specifically, and then how can we make it obviously better and, perform better, sound better, but then again, it's got to fit, it's got to sound good, it's got to look good, and that's really kind of what we take home at MBRP. But again, doing those extra steps, making sure it fits, it looks good, it sounds good, is really something that we want to make sure that we do right the first time. So in the power sports market, really specifically, something again, obviously a lot of these vehicles are heavily modified, and we want to be mindful of clearances, sound, especially for trail riders or, guys that are doing kind of long trips or mudding or any of those environments. It's got to be a strong product for sure. So that's something we really kind of carry with us through the whole process, and being mindful of the end consumer again. So that's really what we focus on.
The exhaust we're installing today is one of MBRP's newest models and fits Can-Am's Defender HD10.
Like any of our performance exhausts, to some it kind of looks like a bit of a workhorse, but I mean in the general realm of in power sports, the number of these Defenders that are kind of heavily modified with wheels, lift kits and everything too. I mean, exhaust kind of is right up there too, and what a better opportunity for MBRP to kind of be into that market as well. And obviously sound and performance are our top two kind of things we try and hit, kind of adding a little bit of that MBRP styling to it as well. Exhaust is really the only accessory that's both truly is a performance upgrade as well as an aesthetic upgrade as well too. So this specific one, that's what we're looking to do.
As with all MBRP exhaust systems, everything needed for install is included, and the install itself follows two very basic steps. Pull off the old and install the new. So there might be a few steps in between, but it's really a simple job pretty much anyone can do in their garage with just basic hand tools.
The overall construction of the muffler, the MBRP, we don't actually require tuning, so it has an internal baffle in it where it allows maximum flow, but either doesn't allow it to run too lean or too rich. It kind of gives it that perfect harmony of sound and flow performance as well too. So it is TIG welded, 304 stainless, utilizing laser cut brackets, so it helps for that really solid fit. They are built in a jig too, so fitment is guaranteed. Previous designs, we actually used the billet end cap with kind of a 45-degree kind of cut on it too, really nice clean look. But this one specifically, we actually did kind of a sharp mandrel bend at the side too. So it's actually inside of the shock. You noticed previously why we didn't go out way out around the shock, kind of like the stock design, really kind of can interfere with some aftermarket upgrades and everything too. So utilizing the MBRP design, again, gives you maximum clearance for when you do those upgrades. So this one specifically, we are using our new 5-inch muffler. Again, when we talk about sound, I mean, anybody can really build a loud exhaust, but to have something that, sounds good, looks good, and really kind of gives you that opportunity not to use a tuner, this is where the 5-inch muffler kind of comes into play. It allows us to kind of get that, again, that bigger baffle inside and still kind of having the solid flow that really kind of makes it an MBRP exhaust.
Many people believe an aftermarket exhaust is an aftermarket exhaust. As long as it's made from stainless steel, it's as good as the next one. But that couldn't be farther from the truth.
So when it really comes to quality and durability, the real factor that sets MBRP apart is a lot of our real world testing. We worked with guys like Lauren Healy and the King of the Hammers and really kind of putting our exhaust through the ultimate test. So with our full power sports lineup and talking even to the side-by-side world, none of our exhausts actually need tuning. And that's something we've really taken our extra time, again, in dyno testing, in that real world testing, measuring flow, measuring back pressure to make sure that, again, the internals are just right. It fits, it bolts on, it performs the first time.
Now that everything's mounted up correctly, it's time for the moment of truth. Just how does an MBRP exhaust system sound on a Defender HD10? Well, man, as always, I am super impressed with the finished product here. You and the crew at MBRP, as always, have done an outstanding job with this exhaust. It sounds great, it saves weight, it adds horsepower. I can say for sure that if the day ever comes when I buy an HD10, this exhaust will be at the top of my upgrade list.
When that day comes, Luke, you know who to call.
You bet.